Last week was, in fact, I believe, Donald Trump's worst legal week that he has ever experienced. There were negative developments for Donald Trump with the Georgia investigation, with the documents investigation, with the attempts to overturn the election investigation, with the E. Jean Carroll lawsuit, with his financial fraud lawsuit. And of course, at the end of the week, we had federal judge Beryl Howell rule that Donald Trump's former aides and staffers are not, in fact, protected by executive privilege, and they will have to go and testify in front of Special Prosecutor Jack Smith's grand jury. So these individuals who are no longer, according to the judge, protected by executive privilege. In fact, it's not that they are no longer, it's that they never were, even though Trump claimed they were. They are Mark Meadows, John Ratcliffe, Robert O'Brien, Stephen Miller, and Dan Scavino. The order also included Nick Luna, John McKenty, and Ken Cuccinelli. So these are all individuals who Judge Beryl Howell says are not protected by executive privilege, as Donald Trump and his legal team had gone to court to argue, and they will end up testifying. Now, Dan Scavino, Ken Cuccinelli, those are some good names that obviously they probably have some things to turn over. The other folks, more obscure, not a lot is known publicly about them. But the Mark Meadows guy, we're all familiar with him. We all know that he was kind of the central hub of all of this. All of the attempts to overturn the election, everything came and went through Mark Meadows. So forcing him to testify in front of the grand jury, that is huge, and it's a huge blow to Donald Trump. Now, Trump's going to appeal this ruling. That much is pretty obvious. I think we all understand that's going to happen. Trump will continue to appeal it until he is no longer able to appeal it. But I don't expect that any of the appeals are going to end differently than what we've already seen in court. There's one human being on the planet at any given time who has the authority to declare executive privilege. And that person is always and only the sitting president of the United States. As that person is not Donald Trump cannot claim executive privilege over anything. All President Biden has to do right now to put an end to all of this is if he publicly declares or writes down in an official declaration, I am not claiming executive privilege over these a-holes' testimony, make them go and testify. At that point, Trump's legal appeals would immediately be rejected. Like, the judge wouldn't even have to consider the merits of the case. The case would be rejected flat out. Trump would have nowhere to go. We could speed this thing along pretty quickly. But if Biden doesn't do that, then the courts will have to consider it, and then they'll say the same thing I just said. So Trump will not win, but Biden could make him lose a hell of a lot sooner by making it clear that he, the one who actually holds the power, is not claiming executive privilege over these jackasses' testimonies. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.